Today we're talking about 45-70 ballistics. So naturally I'm going to spend about half my time today shooting a 444 Marlin. Bear with me and hopefully that'll make sense in just a second. Thing is, quite some time ago I did a video presentation entitled The Giant Handgun Shoot. And I shot several large caliber handguns like a 500 Smith & Wesson and like this Magnum Research BFR in caliber 444 Marlin. Well, just recently someone commented on that video and he told me that he had had a BFR in caliber 45-70, and he was touting the greatness of this buffalo bore 45-70 ammunition. Well, he quoted me some statistics and some ballistics, and to be perfectly blunt, the numbers just did not sound right to me. So today we'll see if we can put that to the test and see if we can shed some light on that. Couple of caveats. One, I do not have a BFR in caliber 45-70, but I think with the guns I do have available to me today, we can get across the point we want to get across. Side note here is that I don't have a corporate sponsor. Every firearm you see me shoot belongs to one of my colleagues or belongs to me. And the bottom line is I was not willing to go buy another $1,000 handgun just to make this point. But like I say, with the guns we have, I think we can get the point across. Thing is about ballistics and velocities, and when you read the ballistics chart, you gotta read the fine print and see what kind of firearm they used to get the results they got. A lot of times when you're talking about big calibers like 444, 45-70, they're shooting a rifle. And when you make the transition into this revolver, the velocities and the energy foot-pounds and so forth you're going to get are going to be quite a bit different. So let's start with shooting a 444 rifle through the chronograph, making the transition to this revolver, and see what kind of difference there is, and then translate that into 45-70. So we'll start with this 444 rifle. Now this is a Marlin Model 444 in caliber 444 Marlin. And the ammo we're going to shoot is Remington green and yellow box 444 Marlin with a 240 grain semi-jacketed flat nose soft point bullet. Let's see what kind of numbers we get. $2,228. 2,170. 2,270. 2,198. Now let's shoot this same ammo through the Bfr Revolver and see what kind of difference there is in velocity. Obviously, when you make the transition from a full-length rifle barrel to this revolver barrel, you're going to lose some velocity. Let's see how much. $1,844. $1,844. $1,816. $1,864. Now let's go crunch those numbers. So how'd we do? Well, with the rifle we got a mean average velocity of 2,216, while by contrast with the handgun we got a mean average velocity of 1,842. That's a mean net loss of 374. Let's just round that off to 375. When you're trying to shoot cartridges this big with that much powder to burn, when you make the transition from the rifle to the relatively short barrel of the handgun, there's going to be quite a bit of loss. So with a mean average loss of 375, now let's shoot the 45-70 and see how that compares. So the 45-70 we're going to use today is this Palmetto Arms carbine. Now 45-70 is an interesting thing. Depending on which source you read, it was introduced sometime in the 1860s and was of course originally a black powder cartridge. The result is today, when you buy 45-70 ammunition, how powerful it is can vary a great deal. Most of the ammunitions you buy, although of course loaded with modern propellants, they're still loaded to chamber pressures and ballistics pretty close to the original black powder ammunition. This is a safety measure to keep someone from putting new ammunition into a really old gun and blowing himself up. So before we shoot the buffalo bore, Let's start with this Remington green and yellow box. Now this is a 405 grain semi-jacketed flat nose soft point bullet. And this is loaded pretty close to original black powder ballistics. It's stamped right on the box for use in all rifles. So let's shoot this and see what kind of results we get. Now Remington advertises this ammunition as having a velocity of 1,330 feet per second. Let's see what our chronograph says. (1,124). (1,146). 1,142. 1,052. 1,095. You can see that the velocities I'm getting with this are quite a bit less than what Remington advertises as their velocity. Well, under different weather conditions, things can change, and they probably anticipated a longer barrel in their testing process. But really, although Remington is an outstanding ammunition manufacturer, the thing is, when you read ballistics charts and company advertisements, those velocities they tell you are, let's say, optimistic. Okay, finally, at long last, we're ready for our buffalo bore ammo. Now you might ask, what the hell am I doing? In shooting ammunition as powerful as this is advertised to be, extreme caution must be taken when you're not sure about your rifle. (1,892). And I can feel that's a little harder to eject than the other ammunition. (1,894). 1,895. So what, if anything, did we learn from all of this today? Well, the main goal here was to test the claim that someone with a Magnum Research BFR and caliber .45-70 was getting 1,900 feet per second in using this 405 grain bullet buffalo bore ammunition. Well, it's stamped right on the box that it'll give you 2,000 feet per second. But with my rifle, I was getting just under 1,900. Why the discrepancy? Well, weather conditions can have a little bit of effect, but the main reasons for that is whatever rifle they used as a test rifle probably had a longer barrel than mine, and manufacturers' advertised ballistics are quite often optimistic. But how does that translate into what you're going to get out of a BFR? Well, in shooting the .444 Marlin rifle and then BFR, we saw a net loss in velocity of about 375 feet per second. And we'd have to anticipate something somewhat similar in shooting the .45-70. Probably not a loss of that much, probably more like 250 or 300. But if you lost 300, you're getting 1,600 out of your revolver, not 1,900. A 405 grain bullet coming out of a revolver at 1,600 feet per second, that's pretty powerful, but it's not 1,900. Bottom line is, if I'm only getting 1,900 out of this rifle, you're not getting 1,900 out of your BFR. So the claim that somebody's getting 1,900 feet per second with this ammunition out of their BFR, well, no fella, you're not. That having been said, if someone does want to do a video test of their .45-70 BFR and chronograph it with this 405 grain bullet buffalo bore ammunition, please send me a link to it, because remember, good science is verifiable, falsifiable, and repeatable. One thing I want to stress, and I mean really stress, is this ammunition I was shooting today is loaded way beyond what original 45-70 ballistics would have been. You saw the results when I shot the Remington ammunition. And the theatrics of the helmet and the goggles aside, I'm dead serious when I say extreme caution must be used when shooting this kind of ammunition in a gun that you're not really sure about, and you got to do your research as to, is your gun capable of shooting this? Got to use your head on that. So that having been said, as always, don't try this at home on what you call a professional, and thanks for watching the 45-70 Ballistics video.